Hi there and welcome. I'm Rabbi Nachum with the Las Vegas Kollel. The Chofetz Chaim in his introduction has been talking about just how significant and serious the sin of Lashon Hara, just how devastating the sin of speaking negatively about one another is. And the Chofetz Chaim quotes a verse in Isaiah where Isaiah says, Hay moshche ha'avon, woe unto those who pull forth with their sin, bechavle hashav, with the ropes of falsehood. Ka'avos ha'agola chata. Their sins are like the cables, the chains of a carriage, of a chariot. And the Chofetz Chaim explains this metaphor of the ropes of a chariot, of a wagon. And he explains, he says, when we sin, if we go ahead and we do something wrong, all right, that's terrible. He says it's an avon pelili, it's a wondrous sin, it's terrible when we go ahead and we do something wrong. However, the Chofetz Chaim points out, sometimes our sins are the type of things that we do over and over again. And he says specifically when it comes to Lashon Hara, speaking negatively about one another, he says it's the type of sin that oftentimes we do it hundreds and thousands of times in our lives. It's a type of sin that we repeat over and over and over again. And he says that's what the metaphor, the analogy is. He says if you take one string, it's not particularly strong and it can snap very easily. But when you take a string, a thread, and you double it over, and then you double it over again and again, and you end up having a thick rope that can go ahead and pull a chariot, it could go ahead and pull a wagon, it's one rope. That one rope is made up of hundreds, if not thousands, of small, fragile strands, small, thin threads. But when you go ahead and you double it over, you repeat it, it goes ahead and you get a big, thick, strong, durable rope that could go ahead and pull something that's very, very, very heavy, like a wagon or a chariot. Chofetz Chaim says so too when we go ahead and we sin, particularly with Lashon Hara. It's one thing if we go ahead and we sin once, we sin twice. He says that's an avon pelili, it's a terrible sin. But so often we go ahead and we speak Lashon Hara, we speak it over and over and over again, and it becomes such a part of who we are. We gossip, we speak negatively, we talk poorly about one another, so the sin becomes that much more magnified. And the Chofetz Chaim says it's because of that, because the sin of Lashon Hara is the type of sin, it's one of those types of sins that we really often get into very bad habits, and we repeat it over and over again. It's because of that we need to be that much more careful to make sure we study the laws of Shmiras HaLashon, we got to study the laws of appropriate speech, and we really got to go ahead and invigorate and strengthen ourselves to make sure we're particular, that we're, God forbid, not speaking Lashon Hara, we're not speaking negatively about one another, but rather all we're doing is we're being particular and careful with these laws and only speaking kindly about our friends.